Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down complex topics using the source material itself. Today, we're diving into a potential flashpoint in the Arabian Sea, and it all revolves around one of the world's most strategic ports. Okay, so let's get right into it. This entire explainer is built on a strategic analysis from Commander Mohammed Azam Khan. He's a retired officer and now a senior research fellow at the Pakistan Navy War College. So this isn't just some abstract theory. We're literally stepping inside a Naval strategist's vision of how a future conflict could unfold. And here's the thing about this analysis. It doesn't ease you in with a bunch of history. Nope, it drops us right into the middle of a crisis that's already happening. Just imagine that for a second. The tension is sky high. Two powerful warships shadowing each other. And then suddenly, shots are fired. And right away, there's chaos and confusion about who started it. This is that single spark that could set one of the world's busiest sea lanes on fire. But you have to ask, how did these rival navies end up here, eyeball to eyeball? Well, to understand that, we need to rewind a bit and look at the prize they're all after. You see, the story doesn't really begin with warships at all. It starts with a small coastal town and a strategic dream that's been in the works for nearly 50 years. Gwadar's journey is just fascinating. Get this. Way back in 1973, Pakistan actually offered it to the United States, and the U.S. passed on it, a decision that, looks pretty different with hindsight. For decades after that, it was just a quiet but important outpost for the Pakistan Navy. But then, China enters the picture, and everything changes. It's transformed into the global powerhouse we see today. And this image really just shows you the incredible scale of that ambition. What you're looking at isn't just a regular port. It's a massive, deep water facility built to handle over 400 million tons of cargo every year. And its location? It's everything. It sits right at the mouth of the Persian Gulf, looking out over the world's most critical oil shipping lanes. So what was the catalyst? What finally turned this long-held dream into a multi-billion-dollar reality? Well, the answer lies in China's absolutely massive economic vision for the entire globe. $46 billion. That was the initial investment in what's called the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC. But you gotta understand, it's not just about a port. It's a whole network of roads, railways, and pipelines. And it's the star project of China's even bigger One Belt, One Road initiative. Think of One Belt, One Road as China's blueprint for 21st century global trade. The belt part is a bunch of overland corridors, like a new Silk Road on land. The road part is its twin on the seas. And Gwadar? Well, it sits at the perfect intersection of the two, giving Western China a direct shortcut to the Arabian Sea. This slide really breaks down why Gwadar is the absolute crown jewel of the whole thing. For China, this port is a total game changer. It opens up a direct path to its western regions, letting them bypass the crowded and strategically risky Malacca Strait. It's also a critical piece of their string of pearls strategy, a network of ports that helps their navy project power all across the Indian Ocean. So it's both a commercial superhub and a vital military outpost. Now, a project this huge doesn't happen in a bubble. China's investment in Gwadar has sent shockwaves across the region, leading to brand new partnerships and, you guessed it, rising tensions. What we're seeing now are two very clear blocks taking shape. On one side, you have the U.S. and India getting much, much closer with joint military exercises and agreements that basically let them use each other's bases. And on the other side, you have the all-weather friendship of China and Pakistan getting even stronger, with Iran also showing signs of closer cooperation. And this quote, which comes directly from China's own military strategy paper, is so incredibly telling. For centuries, China was a land power. But what they're saying here is that that's over. Now, maritime power is absolutely essential for them to protect their global interests. Interests like Gwadar. It is a fundamental shift in how they see the world. So, this brings us right back to where we started, that crisis at sea. We've got the port, we've got the global strategy, and we have the competing teams all lined up. Now, let's see how it all collides in Commander Khan's scenario. As the U.S. Indian task force steams toward the Pakistani coast, the Chinese and Pakistani navies don't go for a direct, head-on fight. Instead, they use a defensive strategy called A2/AD, which stands for Anti-Access Area Denial. The goal is really simple. Make it way too dangerous for the enemy to even get close. Here's how it works. It's like a defense with multiple layers. Far out at sea, Chinese submarines create an outer screen. If you get past them, you run into the inner barrier, Pakistani submarines positioned closer to the coast. And if any ship is tough enough, or lucky enough, to punch through both of those layers, they're met with a barrage of powerful, shore-based anti-ship ballistic missiles. It creates a lethal no-go zone. So what's the outcome of this fight? This chart tells the whole story. The U.S. Indian force does manage to penetrate the barrier, but man, they pay a heavy price for it. They lose a surveillance plane, 2 fighters, and a destroyer gets damaged. And while they do manage to sink a Chinese sub and hit some infrastructure at Gwadar, the cost of pushing forward is just too high. They're forced to retreat. The A2/AD strategy in this scenario worked. The actual fighting is over pretty quickly. It's short, it's sharp. But the consequences of this clash are immediate, and they're felt far, far beyond the Arabian Sea. The conflict effectively shuts down the Strait of Hormuz, the bottleneck for a huge percentage of the world's oil supply. The economic shock is instantaneous. Global markets completely tank, which forces the UN Security Council to call an emergency session. A ceasefire is quickly declared, which ends the battle, but it solves none of the underlying problems. And so, this strategic analysis leaves us right here. The ships have pulled back to their corners, but the rivalries, the alliances, and the immense strategic value of Gwadar, all of that is still there. It leaves us with a very unsettling question. In a world this dependent on maritime trade, just how long can a fragile peace like this really last?